My name is Gabriella. I'm 30 years old and I'm a pediatric nurse. My 7-year-old son Leo was asleep in his room. The apartment was quiet. My phone buzzed on the nightstand. 11:51 p.m. It was a text from my mother Brenda. It said, "Your father and I have agreed. After what you dared to say, you are no longer a part of this family." It felt like a punch to the chest. A few seconds later, another notification popped up. My brother Justin had hearted the message. "Drop a comment and let me know where you're watching from in the world and what time it is for you. I'd love to know who is part of our community." I didn't cry. I didn't text back. Why? I looked across the hall to Leo's room. He was fast asleep, his face peaceful. That text wasn't just an attack on me. It was a threat to him, to our stability. The anger wasn't loud. It was cold. It was clinical. I opened my laptop. For years, I've been the fixer, the organized one. I was the family's silent logistician. Because I was a nurse, I was meticulous. I handled the messy background details of their expanding empire. I set up the accounts, I scheduled the payments, I made sure the entire fragile structure ran smoothly. I was the silent investor in their version of family. I logged into the joint bank account that I managed, the one all their automated payments flowed through. First, the family phone plan. 5 lines all under my name, all paid from this account. I clicked Cancel Automatic Payment. The confirmation screen popped up. Clicked. Next, the quarterly insurance payment for my father Kevin's chain of physical therapy clinics. The payment was scheduled to go out tomorrow. Clicked. Canceled. Then I saw the payment for my brother Justin's luxury car. The one my parents had convinced me to co-sign for just to build his credit, they said. The payment that more often than not I ended up covering. Clicked. I went down the list. The automated bill pay for their utility bills. The premium streaming package. The Wine of the Month Club subscription. Canceled. 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 I had built the scaffolding that held their perfect lives together, and I just pulled the pins. I looked at the clock on my laptop. 12:03 a.m. It took me exactly 12 minutes to start the demolition. That Facebook post was the breaking point. My mother Brenda hadn't just insulted me. She had taken a private criminal matter and dragged it into the public square. She was building her case, painting me as the unstable, ungrateful daughter to anyone who would listen. It was a strategic, preemptive strike. It was a declaration of war. And I realized this wasn't a family drama anymore. This was a balance sheet. This was about liability. I picked up my phone. I didn't call my mother back. I didn't text my brother. I didn't engage with the flying monkeys already, commenting on her post about how disappointed they were in me. I called Maria. Maria is my best friend, but she's not the friend you call to cry with. You call her when you need to burn something to the ground legally and walk away with the ashes. She's a forensic accountant who became a financial lawyer. She is the sharpest, most ruthless person I know. "Gabby," she answered, her voice already professional. "I saw your mom's post. Are you okay?" "I'm fine," I said, my voice tight-cold. "Actually, that's why I'm calling. It's not what you think. It's not a family fight. I think my family is in serious criminal trouble, and I think I am too." There was a pause. What kind of trouble? Her tone shifted. The friend was gone. The lawyer was in. "I need to see you," I said. "Now." And I'm bringing my grandfather's old hard drive. An hour later, I was sitting in her sterile, high-rise office. The old laptop felt like an antique on her massive glass desk. I plugged in the hard drive, typed in Rosewood, and the ledger filled the screen. I gave her the whole story, the discovery, the confrontation at Sunday dinner, the 11:51 p.m. text, the canceled payments, the Facebook post. She didn't speak. She just read. The only sound in the room for 5 minutes was the quiet click, click, click of her mouse as she scrolled. She followed the trails. She saw the transfers. She saw the names of the shell companies. Finally, she leaned back, rubbing the bridge of her nose, and let out a long, slow breath. "Gabby," she said, and her voice was quiet. "That scared me more than yelling. This isn't trouble. This is federal. This is go to prison for decades-level crime." My heart hammered against my ribs. Decades. "Yes," she said, tapping the screen. "This Austin Medical Imports. This isn't just tax evasion. This is textbook money laundering. The amounts, the frequency, the layering. Your father is washing millions of dollars through these clinics." She looked at me, her eyes sharp and analytical. "This is bad. Really bad." She leaned forward. "You said you were the organized one. You set up their accounts." "Just the payments," I said, my voice shaking. "The logistics." "Gabby," she said, her voice dropping to a near whisper. I need you to think. Did they ever use your name for anything? Did you ever sign a document you didn't fully read? Are you a co-signer on anything other than Justin's car? A cold dread worse than the anger started to creep up my spine. I I don't know. I mean, maybe years ago for the business. My dad said it was just standard procedure for the bank. Maria closed her eyes for a second. Okay, she said, opening them. I need to start digging. Right now. Because if your name is on any of this, you're not just a liability they're trying to silence. She stood up and looked at me. You're their fall guy. You're the shield. 2 days passed in agonizing silence. I took Leo to the park. I went to my nursing shifts at the hospital. I smiled at my patients. On the surface, life was normal. But underneath, I was waiting for the other shoe to drop. On Thursday afternoon, Maria called. Gabby, can you come back to the office? Now. Her voice was flat. No emotion. That's what scared me. I found a babysitter for Leo and drove downtown, my hands shaking on the steering wheel. When I walked into her office, she didn't stand up. She was just staring at her computer screen. I found it, she said. Found what I whispered. The kill shot, she said. She turned her large monitor around so I could see it. I ran a deep search on all the shell company names from your grandfather's hard drive. She said, her voice methodical, like a surgeon describing an incision. I cross-referenced them with the Texas State Business Registry. She pointed to the screen. It was a business registration filing for Austin Medical Imports, the largest of the shell companies, the one that had handled millions of dollars. Look, she said. She pointed to a line on the document. Owner divided by director. My blood went cold. It was my name, Gabriella. My full legal name, my address, everything. I don't understand, I stammered. I never signed this. I've never even seen this. I know, Maria said. She clicked her mouse and a new document popped up. It was a zoomed-in scan of the signature page. Is this your signature? I leaned in. It was good. It was very good. It looked just like mine. Almost. The G was a little too looped. The A at the end was slightly too sharp. It was the kind of signature a person writes when they are carefully copying someone else's, not signing their own. No, I said. My voice was hollow. That is not my signature. It's a forgery, Maria said. They didn't just use you to pay their bills, Gabi. They used your identity. They used your clean name and your social security number to register their main criminal enterprise. They've been committing identity fraud against you for years. I sat back in the chair. I didn't cry. I felt a strange, terrifying calm. It was the feeling I'd heard described as clarity. I rubbed my eyes trying to summon regret, but there was only the cold, hard math. This wasn't a breakdown, it was a balance sheet. They hadn't just disowned me. They had deliberately, methodically built a cage for me. If this ever blew up, if the feds ever came knocking, they wouldn't knock on my father's door. They would knock on mine. Brenda's text message, "You are no longer a part of this family," wasn't just an act of narcissistic rage. It was a corporation firing its primary scapegoat. They tried to frame me, I whispered. Maria just nodded, her eyes full of a cold, legal fury. They did more than try, Gabby. They succeeded. Right now, on paper, you're the one in charge of it all. This wasn't a family dispute. This wasn't an argument over money. This was a premeditated attempt to destroy my life to save their own. And I had just found the receipt. Maria sent the first letter. It was a formal cease and desist and a notification of pending legal action regarding fraudulent activity and identity theft. The panic from their side was immediate. My phone, which had been silent, exploded. Dozens of missed calls. Strings of texts, first from Justin, then my father, then Brenda. They went from confusion to threats to begging. I didn't answer a single one. That night around 8 p.m., someone started banging on my apartment door. Not a knock, a frantic, desperate pounding. I looked through the peephole. It was my mother. She didn't look like the powerful matriarch from the Facebook post. Her hair was a mess. Her eyes were red and swollen. Her face was blotchy. She was a woman who had lost control. I opened the door just enough to see her blocking the rest of the opening with my body. Gabriella, thank God, she sobbed, lunging for me. You have to stop this. Please, you don't understand. She tried to push her way in. I stood firm. Understand what, Mom? Your father. The clinics. This lawyer of yours, she's talking about fraud, she cried, the tears streaming down her face. You're ruining us. You're ruining your father. He'll go to jail. You're ruining Justin. Please, Gabriella, just call her. Tell her it was a misunderstanding. We'll fix it. We'll pay you. Just stop this." I stared at her. I watched the performance. The desperate pleas. The fake tears. She wasn't sorry for what she did. She was sorry she got caught. "No," I said. My voice was quiet. Her face changed. The tears stopped. Instantly. The desperation vanished, and the ice-cold venom I knew so well returned. Her eyes narrowed. "No," she hissed. "No," I said again. "You wouldn't dare," she snarled, taking a step back. "You think you're so smart. You think you have us. You have nothing." She was pacing in the hallway now. "You have a son, a little boy. You have a job. You have this tiny little apartment." She stopped and looked at me, a cruel smile spreading across her face. "What do you think Child Protective Services will say when I call them? When I tell them that Leo's mother is unstable? When I tell them I'm worried she's involved in a massive money laundering scheme?" And right then something inside me broke. The moment she said CPS, all the fear I had, all the anxiety, all the hurt, it didn't just disappear. It crystallized. It was compressed and forged into something new. A cold, clean, clinical fury. This wasn't about me anymore. This wasn't about money or betrayal. She had threatened my son. The game was over. As she spoke, I calmly slid my hand into the pocket of my jacket. My phone was already there. I pressed the side button and the screen lit up. I tapped the voice recorder icon. I pressed the red button. "What did you just say, Mom?" I asked, my voice perfectly steady. "You heard me," she shrieked, energized by her own power. "I will tell them you're unstable. I'll tell them you're paranoid. I'll tell them you're the one who forged the documents to frame us. I'll tell them you're an unfit mother. It's my word against yours. Gabriella, who do you think they'll believe me? Or the dramatic, ungrateful daughter who was just cut off from her entire family?" She was breathing hard, her face triumphant. She thought she had won. She thought she had found the one weapon that could make me bend. I let the silence hang in the air for a second, letting the digital microphone on my phone drink in every last syllable. "Thank you, Mom," I said. "I have everything I need now." I slammed the door in her face. The next morning, I walked into the district attorney's office. I didn't have an appointment. I handed the front desk, my grandfather's hard drive, and my phone. I told them I am the victim of identity fraud, and I have evidence of a multi-million-dollar money laundering operation. And this, I said, playing the file from the night before, is a recording of the co-conspirator attempting to extort me by threatening to make a false report to Child Protective Services to take my son. It was over. Fast. With the forged signature, the pristine ledger from the hard drive, and the audio recording of Brenda's threat, I was granted full immunity as a victim and the primary whistleblower. My family's collapse was total. They didn't even fight. They couldn't. Faced with the evidence, my father, my mother, and my brother Justin all took plea deals. They lost everything. The clinics were seized. The Austin mansion was auctioned off to pay the fines. Their names, once so powerful, were now synonymous with fraud. Months later, I was sitting at my small kitchen table. My apartment was quiet. Leo was at school. The sun was streaming in. I opened my laptop. I created a new file, a new spreadsheet. I typed in the title Gabi and Leo's Budget. I looked around my small, clean apartment. I looked at the new empty spreadsheet. It wasn't built on secrets. It wasn't built on fear. And for the first time in my entire life, I felt free. What do you think? Did I do the right thing or did I go too far? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.